Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the LEGO Legend of Zelda Custom Set Showcase Wave 3, where today we're going to get straight in and take a look at Z00037 with 907 pieces. This one is the Hinox Beach Rampage from Breath of the Wild. So, getting straight into it, we can see that this set is designed for ages 8 and up with 907 pieces, making it the second biggest set in the wave, retailing for 80 Great British pounds, and depending on how you classify it, there are 3 minifigures, although I would say 5 big brick-built characters. However, you may be questioning that number, but we'll get back to that in a minute. But without further ado, let's read our little description and get straight into all the fun features and details in this massive set. So, join Link on his next adventure exploring the world of The Legend of Zelda. Be careful not to wake the giant Hinox while you search for the secret to Cassie's riddle. Forage for materials and help the inhabitants of Aris Beach. With 3 minifigures and 2 buildable characters, there's lots of fun to be had. The fully posable Hinox figure can pick up the figures or trees by pulling the lever to send them crashing to the ground. Smash open the easy break crates and cook food on the fire, all in one box. Bit of a weird description there, but I'm sure I will be able to explain it all as we go through today. So if we open up our box, we'll see that inside we have 2 manuals so that you can build with a friend, as well as 8 numbered bags. And if we opened up that first instruction manual, we would see that bag 1 comes with Loon and Roscoe, as well as the first little beach build. Bag 2 comes with the link of this set, as well as Cass and a little rocky outcrop and 2 crates. And if we opened up our second manual, which will cope with the rest of the bags in the set, we see that bags 3 and 4 start to build the Hinox body. Bags 5 and 6 do the neck and head. Bag 7 does our arms, and bag 8 finishes him off with his legs, and I think that he looks pretty good in the end. But before we go and take a look at all of the movability in our Hinox, I want to focus where my favourite part of the build, which is actually the decorations, which is not too surprising if you follow the channel. First up, we have this section here. So this is the main beach section, and you can see here it's actually on 2 sections that can hinge in and out from each other, so that you can have a bit of movement and position them in different places. That tree segment on the right is just on a little hinge, which can be put separately or together depending on how you want to play with the set. And if we focus on the main section first, you can see that there are 2 palm trees using some bright green, and olive green palm leaves. We're using lots of round Technic elements and tail pieces to make the palm trees nice and tall and angled. There's a grass piece at the bottom, as well as a little shell in white. And if we take a close-up look, you can see we have a cooking pot where there are some drumsticks in there. Maybe we're making some simmered meat, as well as a red apple and a yellow banana in some barrels off to the side. If you pull this lever out at the back of this little rocky outcrop, it will send one of our lovely palm trees crashing to the floor as if Link has either chopped it down or the Hinox has come for it and has made it fall over, which is a really nice and simple feature that adds a lot to this little piece of terrain. Focusing on our little other segment of tree, we can see a couple more details, such as that underneath our leaves in these trees we have some minifigure heads in lime green meant to represent palm fruits, and you could obviously detach those and then cook them in the cooking pot. And further down you can see 2 things, more shells, one of which is blue, representing the hearty blue shell from Breath of the Wild. So that's a food that you could also put in the cooking pot and would give you a complete refill. I love including little bits of food like that. And you're also noticing this suspicious looking brick sticking out of our palm tree. Well, that is for one feature. We can have our Hinox come along, grab for our tree, and hold it and pick it up, and his fingers could clasp around that, and then he can swing it around like a weapon. I particularly think back to the finale of the beginner's trial of the sword, where Hinox does this, and I died many times just to that tree. It does way too much damage. Next up, we have the crate, which look like a very simple build, but they actually hide a really ingenious feature and also contain some food on the inside. They're made out of 2x4 tiles, which may or may not be decorated. You can store some food inside, and then either Link or the Hinox can very easily smash it to reveal the food on the inside and break the crates just like you do in the game. So these crates have been deliberately designed to be weakly built so that you can almost crush them in just one hand, or by smacking something down on top of them, particularly on the right angles. And yeah, then you've got food inside. We'll take a look at all the different foods in a second, and I'll tell you what they actually are. And here they are. You can see that included in this set we have 4 palm fruits, 2 sneaky snails, 1 hearty blue snail, 2 drumsticks from birds, 2 apples, just being the classic Breath of the Wild apple, 2 mighty bananas, a swift carrot, and 2 amaranths, I think is what they're called, and they're those little flower things that are often on the beachheads above Aris Beach and the like of that. Move on to the last of our side builds. You can see we have this weird, strange looking rocky outcrop. Now this is designed for Cass, so he can stand on the top and plays a little accordion, and this is in specific reference to the Cass quest in Hateno Bay, which I know is nowhere near Aris Beach, where there's the hero's cache and you have to dredge up a chest that's at 7 o'clock or something like that. And you can see a couple of different angles here. So we have some nice sandy green texture at the top where Cass would stand, and around the other side we're using a merp to add a little bit of a quicker build really. And if you may have noticed underneath, we have a treasure chest hidden here underneath a flap, so obviously you can come and open up the flap and then pull the chest out with magnesis. And what we have inside, of course, we're using the rupee pack new in mold introduced this wave. As you've been familiar, just like our superhero blast pieces come all together in a separate bag, in our Wave 3 sets, a lot of them contain this little tiny bag that contains rupees. You'd get 3 green rupees, 3 blue rupees, and 2 red rupees in each bag, and then those pieces can plop into chests and other places throughout the builds. I think it's a really nice addition to the custom set showcase, and I'm really pleased that I can put them in this set. So, with all of the side builds out of the way, it's time to take a look at our beautiful big red Hinox. So, what details is this guy hiding? Well, firstly, round the back, you can see a lot of these ripples meant to represent his tummy fat, as well as just the best way we could texture him without him looking too strange. You'll also notice that his top is rounded off quite nicely, as these guys have quite a recessed head into their neck, using some big rounded pieces, most of which are actually available in dark red. Again, he's another build in the showcase, which is pretty much totally buildable. Look down at his feet, they're nice and wide to support his body weight, using mixel ball joints and containing these rounded elements at the ends to represent his very unhealthy toes. I mean, technically you could take these off and use as his potion ingredients, as you can do that in the game, and I made use of a lot of the bracket elements to get a lot of this build working, and it's actually a fairly fiddly build. However, that's why the age range is slightly higher. Here you can see in particular his belly button, suggestion of nipples, as well as his loincloth in dark tan, which is very, very short but has varying slope pieces to make it like jagged like it is in the game. You can see those ripples which slowly go up slower, and then how it sags over the top of his belly at the top, and then also his waistcoat which sort of goes around the back, but it's more of just like an arm shoulder thing. I don't really know. Either way, the decoration are here just around the side of his arms, and then you can see there are some more slopes heading up his back. Focus on his arms for a minute, you can see that they're actually fairly chunky as far as brick built arms go. The release of the new In Arishem Shadow piece actually provided a lot more pieces, and just before this set released, I went back and redid a couple of the renders for this guy, making use of those new pieces, although none of them are actually visible here, so waste of my time really. And if we look around the back of the arms, you can see I've tried my best to use wedge plates to make these arms posable, but also cover up as many of the gaps as possible. And these are all just using mixel ball joints, which are my favourite type of ball joints. He also has the 3 fingers that a Hinox has, and this allows him to grip figures as well as just pose things in his hands. And if we take one last look at his face, you can see a lot of the most common details about a Hinox are here. Firstly, the ears off to the sides, the straggles of dark tan hair, his mouth, his bright pink nose, his little tiny stubby horn, which is using the BB9E head and a truncated pyramid cone. And then actually we're using the Pyro Whipper shield in chrome bronze or whatever color they use. No, it's just metallic bronze, with a 2x2 printed tile to represent the eye in his face, and his head is a mastery of snot techniques once again. Let's move on to the figures, and the first up choice is possibly a bit of a strange one. We have Link from the Shrine of Resurrection from the beginning of the game, and then this Link variant uses the same headpiece that we use for our majority of our Breath of the Wild Links. He has some simple chest printing, and then some dual molded legs with his Shiki Shorts pattern from the beginning of Breath of the Wild. Now, why did I choose this figure for this set? Well, to me, the beaches are a very early game location. Also, depending on the beach, you can get some temperature variation. At least I'm pretty sure you can. And beaches are also associated with swimming, and swimming is done faster in Breath of the Wild without any armor on. Not to mention Eventide, being stripped away of all of your equipment and armor, this could be representing that. It's also a fairly common outfit from the game that I thought would be interesting to put in there. We've also got a new expression for Link using a more of a scared expression on his face, which I think works well given the size of a Hinox. And actually, I like the simplistic nature of this one, although a bit of a weird choice for an armor set. I think it had to be here. Next up, we'll move on to two more of our characters, and the reason we have 5 characters in this set is because I'm a big Rusko fan, and we count him as an individual character. This is also the first appearance of the Sheikah Orb in our custom sets, which is also a really nice piece to finally have, as it's pretty common in a lot of the shrine quests. But besides that, we've also got Loon here, who is the figure obsessed with this ball, which I find utterly hilarious. More so that the ball is called Roscoe, but there we go. She's using the ponytail piece here in brown, as well as a adoring facial expression for her love for this orb. She's got another traveler sort of torso and some boot printing, and this sort of adds another one to our collection, joining Tracy and Cass and Misko as the Wanderers from the Breath of the Wild universe. Moving on to Cass himself, we have him here. He's using a new molded headpiece and has a nice build for his accordion using a stamp piece, a minifigure holder piece, as well as some various stacked plates in a golden color as well as dark orange. He has some nice leg printing as well as a medium azure torso, and as I mentioned, he has that new specialized headpiece, which I think works really well. And although not entirely accurate, he sort of feels more like a Legorified version. Finishing up the roundup, there's not much to say here, but we have the drawn version of the Hinox. Those of you who don't know, I like to draw anything that's sentient so that at the end of the wave, we can have a beautiful image full of all of our hand-drawn figures together. So here is our Hinox, and he looks exactly the same and has all the same details as in the build version, so I'm not going to focus on him too much here. However, you can get that reference material. Only thing I'd change is I'd probably make his hair white if I was to go back. And that is everything for Hinox Beach Rampage, and this is another one of those sets, as I've mentioned before, that evokes that same memory as Great Sea Adventure back from Wave 1, which is one of my all-time favourites, and that is because it mostly feels like a playset. You've got this giant oversized character and then some side builds, there's a bit of play functions and lots to do. I particularly like all the food items I was able to include this, as I really want to see these food items appear in real sets. For me particularly, the hearty blue snail shell is a standout, as well as I think the Hinox at least looks passable. I mean, I think he looks pretty good. And yeah, you're going to have to let me know what you guys thought of this one down below in the comments. But before you have a chance to do that, we've got to talk about next week. And we're some way through. Is this our 6th or so custom set showcase? So we're approaching the halfway point. We've still got a while to go yet, lots to see. Next week, we're into Z0044 with 174 pieces, and I'll let you know it's a battle pack. But a battle pack of what? That's another question for the comments. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.